Wake up your morning in a brand new way with the positive people, places, events, and things in and around your neighborhood and around the world. No matter where you live, your mornings are about to get better. It's the refreshing way to start your day. No doom or gloom, just bright sunshine no matter what the weather. Metro Magazine with Bonnie McDaniel. Inspiring, informative, intelligent, Ion. Positively the best way to start your morning. We have a very exciting guest today. We're here with Gabrielle Jordan Williams, who's a 13-year-old entrepreneur, and she's going to tell you about many of the exciting things that she's doing with her life at 13 years old. So rather than belabor the point, we're going to get right into the conversation. Gabrielle, you are an author. You are a jewelry designer. Not just a hobby, but an actual jewelry designer for which you formed a business around. And you are a philanthropist. 13 years old. How does a 13-year-old get to do all of that in the course of a day? Tell me, what does your day look like?
Well, because I've actually got homeschooled. I've been in public school for a while, but I got homeschooled maybe last week or 4 weeks ago. So now that I'm homeschooled, I'm pretty busy throughout the day. I wake up probably 7 in the morning and I start working on, I just plan out a to-do list.
And you do this every day?
Yes, every morning.
Wow,
yes.
okay.
Then I go throughout the to-do list, check the emails, and then whatever, events that are coming out. If I'm speaking, work on speeches, work on knowing what I'm saying. Then I work on jewelry, at least 3 or 4 pieces a day, new pieces, things like that. And most of the things, like when it's a new event, new event that's happening from speaking, most of my day is taken up by writing speeches or.
Now, when do you study? I mean, to do your actual schoolwork.
Well, usually when we do that, we're trying to find a way to make sure that this is even now. So we're gonna do more studying, more schoolwork, and then I guess you have creative arts, right? And so our creative arts will be my business. And
so essentially you're working out the schedule. And I think that one thing that I wanted to really emphasize is the fact that you have a schedule. I mean, at 13, you're actually planning your schedule for how you're going to go about your day. And you seem like you are really focusing on the important aspects of the things that you need to do, so that you can fulfill whatever it is you're starting out trying to accomplish it over the course of a day. Now, I want to point out also the fact that you're an author, but not just an author. You are an Amazon #1 bestseller.
Yes.
And you wrote this book how long ago?
I was at 11.
At 11 years old. You're 13 now. And you just received this honor how long ago?
Right before my 13th birthday.
Before your
the day before my 13th birthday.
Wow, wow. And whose idea was it to write this book?
It was my idea to write this subject, but I wrote the book for a competition in my school.
Okay. And the book, by the way, is called The Making of a Young Entrepreneur. So if you want to know any of her secrets, y'all, they're in here, so you can take notes. I'm certainly going to take notes, although I think I'm an entrepreneur, but I think I can probably learn something from you. So anyway, you were saying that it was your idea to write the book.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah. And how long did it take you to write it?
It was less than a year, I know. Less than a year to write the book. But then you have to get, editing, and then the publishing process is pretty long. So, printing the cover, making the cover, everything like that. It took a little while to get all of that done, but writing the book took less than a year too.
Okay. And I will say that, when I heard you speak, I actually met you at an event, and you're an ambassador, among other things, at 13 years old. You're an ambassador for a breast cancer initiative, and I heard you speak, and actually this series is supposed to be about women. not to say that you're not, you're a young woman, but for all intents and purposes, it's supposed to be about women who have really, been out there doing whatever it is they do for a number of years. And there was just something absolutely incredible about you that impressed me, that let me know that this would be the perfect way to start out this Amazing Women series, because you have a lot of the qualities, I think, that really epitomize what I think about when I think of an amazing woman. Now, I know you come from a line of entrepreneurs. You say you were the 6th generation. Tell me about that.
Well, I'm 6th generation on my mom's side, and also my grandparents, both my grandparents' family were entrepreneurs. I can't remember all the way back from the first.
Well, tell me about the recent ones that you can remember.
Well, I know that my grandparents' one, they have this graphic design business, and then my mom, she's financial planner. My dad is also an entrepreneur, but his side was not entrepreneurial. But he does,
Do you think you guys might have infected him a little bit?
Yes, definitely. He became an entrepreneur. So he does videos and like promos and things like that. And I know, they know from my mom's side, they had a lot of my family members. They had stores, and they're from Trinidad. Most of the family from Trinidad, and my grandmother, she has 13 brothers and 13 brothers and a sister, I think. So it's I think most of them had their companies, and they had their stores, or they worked for their parents, and it was, and I guess I kind of got influenced by all the entrepreneurship that was running through my family, and I got inspired by it. And when my parents asked me if I wanted to make jewelry, because I've always loved jewelry, and I would make jewelry. I go on YouTube and look in magazines.
Now you're wearing some of the jewelry that you've made, and these are beautiful, beautiful bracelets. And I think I need to lift some of them before you leave. And you also have the necklace and the earrings you're wearing.
Yes.
Absolutely love it. And I can
pearls,
freshwater pearls, because I can see that these are. I don't know if you can see these on camera, but the quality is very, very good. And I'm real impressed. And one of the other things that really also impressed me about you is, although you are an entrepreneur and you have a business that you're running, you also do something that Amazing Women, that seems to be consistent with Amazing Women, is that you give back.
Yes.
Talk to me about some of the philanthropy work that you do.
Well, one I give to Smile Train.
Yes.
And which is for kids with cleft lip. And so I give to them, and I also give to Bowie Food Pantry. Also the Children's Hospital.
Now these are the funds that you donate to them.
Yes, from my book.
From your book sales, proceeds
at the
from
end of
that.
the year, I give a percentage of my book sales to the different charities of my choice.
Now, who inspired you to do that?
I did, I guess. It was always, I don't know where it came from, but it's always, when I got started, I always wanted to be someone that gave back. Then I realized that means it's a philanthropist. So I just wanted to give back no matter what I was doing. I wanted to give something, even if it wasn't even money. I wanted to give something to people that could help them. And I chose children's kind of things, as though things that I've listed were mostly children-based organizations, because I'm a child, and I want them to go through life and be able to achieve their dreams and things like that. So that's why I decided to start becoming a philanthropist. Okay.
Now you're 13, and I keep emphasizing that because I still have to remind myself, because I also heard you I saw a video of a TED Talk you did.
Yes.
And you absolutely captured the room. How many people were at that event? It seemed, oh my gosh, the room seemed to be quite filled.
It was. I think it was maybe 300 plus. I think around that, and it was very exciting. I'm already a speaker, but I've never experienced an event or a speaking engagement quite like that before. Just all the people in a room, and just seeing, what I'm doing, seeing that I'm actually achieving. And TED Talks was one of my goals. I watched TED Talks before my parents would let me watch it all the time. And just when I got the email that I could audition for it, I was really, really excited to just have a chance to be a part of it.
And did you write your own speech, or did you do? Okay, so
Yes.
it appeared that it was extemporaneously done, but you actually wrote a speech,
Yes.
and you're sitting here chatting with me, and I was so impressed by that. The fact that you were able to get up and not only talk but engage an audience at 13 years old is quite impressive. You're being as young as you are. I have to ask you: is there any pressure in doing all of the things that you do? Do you ever have moments when it's like, I really just want to go and play and be a kid? Talk to me about that.
Definitely recently, because I'm like, because a lot of things are happening right now, and it's like,
Such
like
as?
things,
You mean the things that you're involved in?
There's like event after event. Like last weekend I was full of events, and then this weekend I'm doing like events both days, and it's just a lot going on. And sometimes I'm like, ugh, I am so tired. Sometimes I get stressed out. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be stressed out. I'm 13 years old, but I get stressed out. But that's okay, because I realize that this is my dream. And when I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur at 9 years old, I should have known that this is what I was going into. And so even though I'm tired at times and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this right now, I still have to, remind myself, this is my dream, and I want to achieve every single one of my dreams. So I have to give up some of the fun or the play that I may have, but it's still important that I still have that time.
Okay, and I was going to ask you that because a young woman at your age, I was just wondering whether or not that's something that you maybe talk to your mom about in terms of, hey, I want to play today. I want to be 13 today.
Sometimes, actually, I was trying to, get to friends to go to the movies before, and it's important. If I just keep working and working, my childhood will just pass away, and that's not good, because I should still be able to have some fun, and so I don't get overloaded, I won't get stressed out. And I try and make sure I'm around, friends, or that I hang out, or I have fun with my brother or something like that, so I'm not just overloaded by all the pressure.
What do your friends think about you?
My friends are very supportive.
Okay.
But of course, when I was in school, I'm homeschooled now, but when I was in public school, there's always going to be people that were saying, one of my favorites, the people would say, they said, oh, you get your jewelry from the dollar store. And it's just, I think that it's hilarious to me.
Was this coming from other girls or just?
Girls, guys, just kids in school. And it's just funny to me, because I can just see that if they asked for it, I just feel like it's like they're just either jealous or they're just mad. I don't know what it is, but it's just, I understand. I'm confident enough to know I don't get my jewelry from the dollar store. I know my jewelry is high quality, so I shouldn't listen to those people. I shouldn't pay attention to them, because everything that they're saying is not helping me. But that's why I make sure to stay around my friends that help me, and they motivate me, and they're confident in me, and they're kind, and they just, and also I try to choose friends that didn't over obsess about the company, about the business.
Stay tuned, there's more to come. Queen Bee is a book about some of the habits, some of the things that we women do really to undermine ourselves and undermine other women. And it's something that we really can't afford to do any longer. It's actually a book that is a combination of research that I've done, interviewing other women and men about what is it that has kept us over the years from becoming the empowered women that we say we are. I have taken interviews from women who talk about some of the experiences they've had in working with other women, either in the capacity of just having relationships in different types of settings, whether it be in the corporate boardroom or a lot of the women that I talk to are entrepreneurs, but really just delving into not just the things that we do in terms of day to day, to perform our jobs, but really looking at the things that are really holding us back. One of the things that's interesting to me is the fact that if you take a woman, an average woman, and if you're honest, and put her in a room with 15, 20 other women and have a gorgeous woman walk in the room, watch the reaction. Chances are very good she's not going to like her, and it has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that she, in their own minds, looks a certain way. If you take that and reverse it, and you are the woman who thinks that everything about yourself is intact, you're going to respond to that woman in a different way. And you're going to listen to her rather than look at her physical being. And that's what I want women to do. I want us to stop looking at what we have on, whether or not, we're thinner or heavier than the next woman, but really to look at who we are as women. I'm hoping, if nothing more, that by reading Queen Bee, women will start to really look at themselves for the amazing people that they are. To look at the gifts that each of us brings to the table. And we all have something unique, something special. I also hope women will finally own the fact that you came here to do something special that no one else can do. And not to compare yourself to someone else. Measuring and comparing are totally two different things, but really to begin to embrace the unique qualities and the strengths that you have. Because when we bring all of those qualities together collectively, there isn't anything that women cannot do. Now, we were just talking about your friends and how important they were to you. And tell me, what kind of thought process do you go through when you're choosing a friend? What's important? What kind of qualities do you think?
With a friend, of course, they should be kind. I try and go for friends that'll help me in school. That will help me. They're smart, intelligent. They have something going for them. And most of my friends, they're all A students every quarter since elementary school. So I try to be around friends that will help me and elevate me with my grades in school. I know my friends, they're people that they don't like me because I have a business and because I'm doing all these things, but they like me because as a person. They like me because I'm a nice person, because just who I am. They like me because of me. And that's what I kind of try to look for when I'm trying to choose a friend. And someone that's just trying to use me or anything.
Now, you mentioned the fact that you have a brother. He's older than you are?
Yes, he's 15.
Okay. So what does he think about his little sister?
He's really supportive in the company and everything.
So do you put him to work sometimes?
Yes.
So do you pay him?
Yes. He's like, over the summer, he was like our intern, I guess, and he went to events with us.
Did you hear that she has an older brother who's an intern in her company? Who does that?
He wanted a regular job, but I guess he's kind of shifting into the mindset of entrepreneurship. Okay. He's a blogger now, and
so this is almost like a requirement in your house that you are not that anyone's telling you, but I mean, it seems like you can't live in that space without being influenced by it. Okay. Yeah. Now, let's talk about your mom. It must be pretty awesome to have a mom who is also in business. Yes. Tell me, what does she lend you that you think helps you with what you're doing?
Well, my mom, her company she's a financial planner, and she does things like that. And so that definitely helps a lot. She's kind of like the accountant as well.
Well, I mean, not so much the day-to-day tasks.
Right.
I'm really talking about those things that you can't really wrap your arms around. There are qualities about her, things that she does, the way maybe she handles, obstacles and things like that.
Right.
What are you gaining from her?
She's really a great, I guess, like a role model or a show of what a great entrepreneur is.
Now tell me, what are those qualities?
Someone that, of course, never gives up. They keep that positive mindset. They work even when they're tired. I know my mom, she stays up late just, working on my company and on her company. So I see when I get older, I see that those are the kind of traits, those are the kind of qualities that I need to obtain or start to obtain. And I see that because my mom is carrying it out.
Okay. Do you feel that you're able to be Gabrielle, or do you see yourself as someone who's perhaps trying to live up to what it is you're seeing around you?
Oh no, I'm able to be myself. I'm able to be Gabrielle. My parents don't push me to, they say whenever I'm tired or just, my mom, my parents are saying, whenever you say, if you're really tired, you need to, it's just too much, you just say when, and we'll, talk about it and everything. So they allow me to be free to, express myself whenever it's happening.
Okay. Tell me, if you were to look, because you're 13 now, and say 5 years down the road, what do you see your life, what does that picture look like, or have you thought about that?
I have thought about that. I know a lot of my goals. I know I want to be a jewelry designer to the stars.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you found a star yet who's wearing your jewelry?
Well, she's not a star, but she, I think it was the congresswoman or something. I think it was along that line, and she bought a piece of my jewelry and she wore it on television, and so that was pretty cool. When the first thing that happened, so that was pretty cool. But I'm just building up the jewelry, and I definitely want to do bridal jewelry, and I want to get. I never really thought about having my own store, but I got a mentor a little while ago, and she has her own store, and I'm thinking, hey, maybe I could have a small little boutique, and but I definitely want to have my jewelry in other boutiques, high quality boutiques. Maybe going into the more big stores like Macy's and things like that, having my jewelry in there. So yeah, I've definitely thought about, also, I also want to continue sharing and speaking all around the world, and maybe write more books and entrepreneurship and things like that.
Have you thought about what your next book might be about?
The next book that my mom and I were going to do together, it's called Mini Mogul. It's Mini Me to Mini Mogul.
I love it.
So, so we were kind of working on what we're going to talk about. We're going to write about together how my mom helped me to get to where I am, how she trained me, and what I've taken from that and what I've been doing from it. So.
And you don't have, I was about to say, you don't have to share too much since it's not out there yet, but I think that is so awesome. And as far as college, is that something you want to do, or?
Yes, definitely. I know I want to major in business. I'm still thinking about different colleges, where I can go. Something that's not too far, because I still have to do work with my business. So something that'll balance everything. And I also want to become a gemologist. So I'm going to go to GIA, which is the Gemological Institution of America, which is in New York. Or it's all around the world, but I probably would want to do in New York. And I want to go there and learn, about gemology and learn about stones. And
so I can see you in some remote place in Africa or wherever, digging and discovering all of these beautiful stones and thinking, oh wow, I can make a beautiful piece of jewelry out of this. Definitely. Yeah. Now, as far as if you were many years from now, and Gabrielle is 120 years old, we'll pick a number. And if people were to tell your life story, what is it that you want? I want you to give me 3 things that you would like for them to say about your life.
I want them to say that I'm ambitious, to go ahead, to go after my dreams at a very young age, at 9 years old, to start at such a young age. to share that that I was, I don't know. I never really thought about that. That's a really great question.
I know it's
Yeah.
13, but I was wondering
Right.
if you ever thought about that.
I have thought. I know my dad. He always is like he's told us before. When you die, what do you want people to know about you? What will you do? What bad, and good impressions? What will someone think about you if they say your name? What is the one thing that they'll think? Like good person, bad person, anything like that. So I've been thinking about those things, but I never really pinpointed what I've been wanting to, what I want people to think of me as.
I would imagine that by the time you hit that 120 years old, or whatever that magic number is for your life, I'm sure that people will have many, many wonderful things, certainly more than 3 things to say about the life that Gabrielle Williams lived. I am so honored to be in your presence, young lady. I think you're very articulate. You're very gentle in your spirit, but you can see that there is a seriousness and a forcefulness there. And I think you're an absolute wonderful role model for young women if they're thinking about mapping out a life that matters. I want to encourage you to continue what you're doing, and also to make a piece of jewelry for me, because I would absolutely wear it on the air. I'm not a big movie star, but I get around a little bit, so it would be my honor to wear one of your pieces. Now, before we go off the air, I would like for you to talk about where people can find your jewelry and your book, and any other thing that you might want to share about your philanthropy, how people can help you to boost what you're doing.
Definitely. All my information, you have GabrielleJWilliams.com, which is GABRIELLE, JWILLIAMS.com, and then Jewels of Jordan is jewelsofjordan.com, which is jewels spelled with a Z of Jordan, and those are the 2 websites. Jewels of Jordan is the jewelry website, and Gabrielle J. Williams is mostly focusing on books and speaking. And my books are found also on my website, and it's in Kindle and on Amazon. And you can contact me through email, which is the best way, which you can get all that information on my website as well.
And I would like to add another, an addition to what she said. If you're looking for someone who is just, I can't find the words to describe you, very articulate, commands the spaces she stands in to come and maybe speak to a group of young people or adult people, I would highly, highly recommend that you reach out to Gabrielle Williams. You are an inspiration. You are a jewel yourself, so it's very appropriate that you are in the jewels business. I want to thank you for coming on. And you are, by all definition, an amazing woman.
Thank you.
As a continuation of our Amazing Women series, we have someone who has been with us before, but we are going to have a different conversation today. Mayma Carmo is someone that once you hear her story, we're going to really dig deep and not just talk about her professional life, but get to know the real Mayma today. You're going to understand why she was chosen as an amazing woman. So Mayma.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Mayma. We're going to dig deep today, darling.
Dig on deep, sister.
Because one of the things that I love about you is, although you've gone through a lot and you've shared that with us before, you've had some real challenging times in your life. One of the things that I absolutely love about you is the fact that you've not forgotten how to laugh. And I think if we were to look at women that we would consider to be amazing, that's one of the qualities that they have. Talk to me about laughter, and when did you learn or really come to understand that to be something important?
When I was a child, I would look at adults sometimes around me, and I would see that they lost their joy. They seemed very consumed by life and responsibilities, and they'd be stressed. And not just my parents, I love my parents dearly, but I would look at their friends and other people, and I thought, it's not that serious. You know, what if they were still a kid at heart?
Right, right.
And I thought I never want to become an adult that is not like a child. I want to always be the way I am. And I was about 9 years old when I had that thought.
Okay, and I would imagine that given a lot of the challenges that you've had to face over the years,
Yeah.
that I would imagine became part of the healing for you, wouldn't you say?
It was because, you know, this is when I first had that thought. We just escaped the first war in Liberia, so this is a war where people were put on a beach and assassinated, and I got to observe that.
Talk to me a little bit more about that, because I was reading it in your book and I was just blown away, because if someone met you for the first time, you would never know that as a child you really went through some pretty scary times. So talk a little bit more about that.
It's a choice you make to be happy or to smile. It's not something that just comes. Now it does, but it's a choice I make. You know, it happens in an instant, because I've seen so much. When I was a child, there was a coup d'etat in my country where I was born, Liberia. And literally we got up one morning and the president had been assassinated, and there were rebels that were taking over the country. And my father had an announcement on the radio and said, everybody of this stature or whatever, come to this meeting. And he knew if he hadn't gone to the meeting, there'd be people coming to our house looking for him.
Wow.
So my father didn't tell us what he was doing. He just got dressed. And he always put on he used to wear Cartier, his Cartier cologne, and he put his watch on. But this day he got dressed and put his watch on and took it off. And that little difference in his routine made me wonder why he was taking the watch off. He left his other jewelry on the counter, and so he went away and then he didn't come back. And then my mother's friends came over and took us to their house. And there was this tension and this sense of something was happening. I didn't know until much later that what had happened. My father actually he walked into a situation where he pretty much gave himself up to the rebels so they wouldn't come to find us. My mother, a few days later, waiting for him, he didn't come back. Her friends we all thought they thought he was dead, because people were being assassinated on this beach, had been assassinated. It had been televised. And she said to her friends, if I don't go and find my husband, I may never see him again.
What was going through your mind how old were you at the time when this was
I was
happening?
8.
Okay. What was going through your mind as an 8-year-old with all of the changes? Because you noticed that the routine wasn't routine
I noticed,
anymore.
well, there was all this fear. I have to correct myself that the assassination didn't happen until after my dad got back. In my mind, it was kind of horrible, but the men that were killed on the beach, that was after he got home. But it was just kind of like things were happening in slow motion. My parents were in the house, and it was there was this tension in the air. And when my dad left, and then her friends came and got us to go to their house, and I was wondering, why are we going to their house? We were told to lay flat in the car, you know, so we had to put our heads down. And then we were in my mother's best friend's home, and we had to keep the lights out and park the cars behind the house, and we had to, you know, crawl on the ground, and it was kind of, as a child, you wonder what's going on. But they didn't want to scare us, and so my mother, they were just saying, pray, 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 and there was this, because they were afraid for their lives, and I could feel that palpably as a child. I was always very sensitive to people's energy and their feelings, and so I could sense something was really wrong, but no one told me. And so imagine my father leaves, and my mother takes us out of our home where we're safe, and we go to her best friend's house. And then after a few days, she gets dressed in a pair of white shorts, ties her head, and says, I'm going to get your dad back.
Wow.
And then that's the first lesson I remember learning in my life.
Okay, and what was
My
that
father had
lesson?
sacrificed himself for our family. My mother was now sacrificing herself for her love of my dad and our family. And it's such a profound lesson that I got to learn that day. And my mother didn't understand what she did, you know, at the time.
So that first lesson you learned as a child was sacrifice.
Sacrifice for love. 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 It was just love.
What a profound statement that is.
Yeah, nothing was more important than him sacrificing himself for us, and then her for him and us.
When did you really realize what it was?
You know when? And it's funny because she didn't know what she did. And when I began my foundation, Tiger Lily, I was in chemotherapy, and I was beginning to build an organization. And I was still in treatment. I was in chemotherapy. She was like, my mother would say, "You're working too hard. You're gonna kill yourself. You're gonna be tired, and you have to take care of your daughter. And what if something happens to you again? You get a recurrence." And I got better. I was in remission, and I was still working so hard. And And then she would tell me she was afraid as a mother would be for my health. And I said, you're the same person that walked into a barracks of soldiers in a pair of khaki shorts and a head of bandana. Into a barracks of drunk, high, bloodthirsty people for my dad. You taught me the meaning of sacrifice at that time, the meaning of trusting in God. How can you now tell me that I should forget my mission and think about myself? It's not about me.
Yeah,
This is about my love for these girls who are going through breast cancer. And then she's like, you remember that? I said, that's the first lesson I recall in my memory. The first thing I remember about myself being, when you asked me how did I become a woman, and that memory is like the first lesson that she taught me without telling me. She just did it. They didn't think about it. My dad just got up and went. And then when she couldn't find her husband, didn't know where he was, she just got up and went. And when she went into the barracks, the taxi cab wouldn't take her in because they were afraid to be killed. And she walked in there, and she was the only person in the immediate office. Everybody was out, I guess, doing whatever they did during a war. And she went in the office and sat there and waited until they came back. The soldiers came back and demanded to get her husband out of the jail.
When your mom left, was there any moment when you feared she would not return?
No.
What was it that made you not fear?
Her faith.
Wow. So
She said to me, I'll be back. She didn't say it. She just said, before she made up her mind that she was going to get my dad and come back, she was afraid. Once she made up her mind she was going to get him and come back to us, the moment she put on that outfit, her jeans, and tied her head, African style, I was like,
a woman on
she'll
a
be
mission
back.
is like, okay, I dare anyone to get in her way.
Yeah, and sometimes I look at her, she looks at me, and she says, how do you do all this stuff, and you just go and you don't stop, and I say, but you did that. You taught me this. You were fearless. That's all I learned.
And you really are making me think about this book. This is an amazing book, by the way.
Thank
And
you.
I really, I actually got to read it before many other people did.
You're one of my preview readers.
Yeah, and I was so blown away because although I know you, I didn't really know you until I read this book, because I knew about the work you were doing. I knew about the struggles you were having with breast cancer. But I never knew the foundation, because when you think about women who are amazing, I did this exercise with a group of women, of about a dozen women one day, and we were sitting around talking, and we were doing what women normally do, get around and gripe about what's wrong in their lives.
Have cocktails.
And and I was like, okay, this is boring. I'm thinking Sunday afternoon. Let me see if I can change this conversation. And what really inspired me to do this Amazing Women series was the fact that I asked the host if I could ask the women, each of them in the room, what made them amazing. And I knew nothing about them. I knew none of the women that were there. And what struck me was the fact that it's consciousness that makes amazing happen. Consciousness about living every day.
Yeah.
So when I think about Mayma Carmo, I see someone who is always conscious, always aware of what it is she's doing. And the difference is that I think a lot of people walk around and they go through the process, through the task of living every day.
Right.
But they don't really live because they're not conscious of what's going on around them. And so when I see you and when I think about you, I think about someone who's not just fearless, someone who, you absolutely are amazing. And what I discovered in that conversation, each of the women around the room, it was kind of my own, a survey I was doing. It wasn't really planned or anything. I was just curious. Every woman around that room, when they shared their stories, I asked them, tell me what makes you amazing. They all had a story to share. And each of them had sacrificed. They had been put in situations that were, a couple of them, life-threatening, and each of them were able to excel. So when I think about women like that, especially you, because I know you, so that was one of the main reasons that I thought you would be a great, great subject for someone who's amazing. Now, before I lose my train of thought, there was also something else in the book, and I remember, and there's a point to this, you sharing in the book about an incident that happened with a telephone and lightning striking you? Talk about that, because that really just, wow, when I read that, it did something to me inside. Why don't you share with our viewers?
Well, it's just, for me now, the way I live, I know I'm supposed to be alive, but in a way, I kind of almost was supposed to not be here.
Mm-hmm.
Like something, I have like 10 lives. I was almost hit by lightning when I was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was changing my diaper, and she put me down on the bed to get a diaper, and lightning hit the wall across the bed where I was laying. And before she turned around, the lightning was hitting the wall, and I'm just laying there, like kicking, 6 months old. That was my first brush with lightning. And when I was 12, I was on the phone with my girlfriend, and it began to thunder and lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Get off the phone!" There was some boy I liked, some my first little crush. We had like swished by the pool and stuff. So I was always excited about that. He liked me, and we would exchange notes and stuff. So my girlfriend Lydia called me. She's like talking about him, and we're like, we're talking. And then my mom's like, "Get off the phone! It's raining." I'm, all right, fine. I was mad at her. I got off the phone, and then I hung up, and I was walking away, and then the phone rang again. It rang, so I went to pick it up, and I picked it up, and the lightning just hit me, and I don't know how to explain it. It was 1 minute I was just laughing and picking the phone up, and the next minute there's this heat, and it was like white and black all at one time. Boom, and then I was just out, and then everything was dark, and then I was up here. Like it was like I was just pulled out of my body, and I was up looking down, and everybody. It happened so fast. Apparently, between the time I got struck and I was looking at myself, my body had gotten tangled in the wire. I was convulsing, and then my brothers were screaming, and there were people in the house who were around us. They were all screaming, like, "Oh my God!" They thought I was dead, and I was convulsing, and then I just stopped. And then I was looking at my body, but there was no attachment to my body. It was just looking with compassion, just looking, and I thought, wow. But everybody was so frantic, I was okay with that happening. I wasn't attached to what was happening at all. My mother came in. She had been cutting my cousin's hair on the porch, and she came in, and the look on her face of anguish, like I'm her firstborn daughter and her only daughter. The look on her face, and somehow me being up here and that detached spirit like saw her face, and I just somehow I couldn't do that.
You couldn't.
I couldn't leave her. She just like I just saw her collapse. Like and so then her spirit was gone. Like she was just so in anguish, and so then I just looked at her, and I just said, "I'm not ready. It's not time yet." And I wasn't up here anymore. I wasn't out of it. I was like this. I jumped, and I was back in my body. And then I was like, the wires were all around me, and my senses came back to life. I could feel again. Because up there, it was just calm, quiet, peace. And then there was this pounding pain in my ear. And then my mother said, I realized I had been hit. My ear was just vibrating. And I realized I had been hit by lightning.
Wow.
And I survived.
And when I think about the fact
Because you shared with me, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, what that was like. The fact that one of you, I guess you have this bucket list that you're going down.
Yes.
And you just recently jumped out of a plane, which is also something I want to do. But when I think about the fact that you were hit by lightning almost when you were little, it was like, okay, jumping out of a plane, piece of cake. So talk about the
I mean, I've survived 3 wars, almost been hit by lightning, hit by lightning, gotten breast cancer. The things that I've survived, there are other things that have happened that are smaller things, where I know people are talking to me and guiding me. And everybody has certain fears, and one of my fears was was being unable to control things. When I look back at my life, I haven't controlled anything, really.
None of us do.
None of it, yeah.
Right.
But the fact of the wars and the lightning and the cancer, but I'm here, and my life is even more amazing than I could have dreamed it would be. So I've had a fear of being out of control of my body, because one thing that happened with cancer is I couldn't control my body. When the other things with the war, I could run away from those things. With the lightning, I could get a surgery in my ear, but with cancer, there's no control over your body. So I've worked very very diligently and consciously to take care of myself and to be healthy. And with skydiving, there's that,
Freedom.
what that gave me, like when I was dead for that instant when I got hit by lightning. So you're in the plane and you're going higher and higher and higher. Then you realize I don't have any seatbelt, right? There's nobody telling me, look at this, and if this happens, this is gonna drop, and you're like, there's nobody there, and then the door's open. You're like, what the heck? And you're just looking. It's very surreal. You're like, what in the and the people are just jumping, and all you see is clouds, and I'm thinking, what in the am I doing?
So did it ever occur to you, did you have a moment when you thought, what if this parachute doesn't open?
No.
So you never thought about
what
that?
was cool is that I was ready for it. I was the first person in the
You're
plane.
ready to hit
Jump
the
out the
ground
plane.
without the
It wasn't gonna
parachute.
happen. But the cool thing was when I got in when I put my legs out of the plane, and then he goes jump, and all I see is clouds. I don't even see the ground at that point. And then I just jump, and for 40 seconds you're free falling. You're out of control. I love that. That's what I realized. That it was a huge epiphany for me. Because in your entire life, you're really out of control, but it's we think we can be in some aspects.
Right.
But jumping out of that plane and free falling for 40 seconds, all you have is you can breathe, you hear your heartbeat, but it's total quiet. And there's the air and the wind, and then you're just falling. And then you're just like, and then the parachute goes off and it lifts you up. And then you open your eyes, and then you just quiet. God. And then the land is just underneath you, right? And then you look at the entire world, and you think that the world looks so small, or your problems are so small compared to. You're like, this is how God sees my life. It's so big, but the problems are nothing. But He's further up than me. He's everywhere.
Right.
And then I just thought, oh my God, I get it now.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I got it with breast cancer, but then this jumping without the plane thing was just like a huge epiphany in a different way. Like, just let go and let God and just be fearless and jump into your life, which I do, but it was amazing for me to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, that's something that
You have to do it.
No, I am absolutely
awesome.
going to do it. That and I shared with you earlier, that and learning how to fly a plane are two things that I absolutely am going to do.
No.
She says no. And
I'll
listen,
skydive again.
so you're saying that I think the reason why I probably lean more toward flying the plane than jumping out of the plane is the fact that I have control. And maybe that's a control thing, you think?
It's a control thing. You got to just jump out of the plane.
Just let it go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are a number of things that you are doing right now. I know that the foundation is doing very, very well. You're getting a lot of people are really beginning to understand the significance of the work that you're doing. Talk to me, if you were to look at Tiger Lily 5 years from now, what would that look like?
This morning, one of my Facebook friends sent me a note, and she's able to reach me because I'm not a CEO that's up here. I'm down here, and that's actually thanks for asking me the question again, or redirecting me, because the reason why we're different is we're not just so big you can't touch. This woman sent me a Facebook note and said this woman here has breast cancer, stage 3 breast cancer. She needs funds for travel to get treatment. What can you do? Well, within a matter of an hour, I was able to get the lady's number, text her, leave her my voicemail, and say, let's talk tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
We want to be able to be on the ground with the women, in the trenches with them. One of the problems women have, or one of the challenges we have when you're diagnosed, I had, and women have, is the feeling of feeling alone, that you're isolated, and that your body, you feel like the cancer's in your body, and you can't run from it, you can't hide, and you don't know what to do, and you feel like help is so far. It's terrifying. So being able to find somebody and go meet with them and to touch them. I love to touch the girls. I love to physically touch them and hold their hand and be with them. And if we can't be there in person, to have them feel that love and support virtually is something that all of our programs endeavor to do. So immediately we want to get in contact with them. We want to be able to tell them we'll support you during treatment, but we're going to be here for you to call. You can meet other survivors via our social media networks. We have the events where we engage the girls all the time. And it's really about transformation at the end of the day. Because the gift cancer gave me was realizing that my time is finite and is to be conscious of how I use my time and to decide to live my life deliberately.
Now, I know that over the past several years, you've had a lot of the women that you have been able to touch who have become angels. How do you cope with making those connections, making those bonds, having women become a part of your life, and then having to say goodbye? What is that mental process like for you?
Well, the thing I can tell you today is that I don't really say goodbye because they're with me all the time. They're with me here now. And, you asked me about jumping out of the plane earlier. I wasn't alone. I'm never alone. I have these angels that are with me. But I also know that oftentimes, suffering gives you a grace. And the look I see in these girls' eyes, even though they're going through treatment for breast cancer and they're stage 4 and they're dying, knowing that they have a certain amount of years to live, the grace with which they live their lives, and the power and the exuberance and the joy and the gratitude and the excitement. The people that I know who have lived twice or 3 times that length of time physically on this earth don't have that look in their eyes, or who don't have that passion for life. So the gift is truly mine, that to be able to be with them at that time. It's a hard thing to love somebody, or to go into loving them. When the girls are diagnosed and they're not stage 4, when I meet them, I know that, okay, I love this girl, these girls, she's going to be okay. But when you meet somebody and know they're not going to make it, it's a choice you make to be in their lives. Because the first couple of times I lost people, it hurt so badly. I was immobilized. So I pulled away because it hurt profoundly. I just couldn't cope. And then I realized that one of the things that God put me on this earth to do, as He's put other women on the earth to do in men, is to love without guarding your heart. So one of the things God put me on this earth to do is to love without guarding my heart. And that is what enables me to be with the girls, because sometimes they will, the family will call or text and say she's ready to go, or she needs you, she wants you to come. And I used to wonder why they would do that. Why are you, I would be with them when they were going through treatment and all that, but why would somebody ask for you in a day or 2 or 3 or a week before she dies? One of my closest friends, Kristen Martinez, transitioned about 3 years ago. And at the end, I wasn't with her the day she passed, but I was with her. Once I got the call that she wasn't doing well, I got on the plane and I was with her, and I spent, nights sitting with her, holding her hand, and she was saying things like, I'm not ready to go, and why, and we had several intimate conversations, and being there for her during that time, the final letting go, when I left New York, the next day she passed.
I remember.
I knew the exact. Yeah, I was sitting. I knew where I was sitting, and for some reason, I kept saying the time. The time was the time, and I kept saying this time in my head. And my friend said, "Why are you saying the time?" I kept saying the time without thinking. And I said, I don't know why I keep saying this time, and I kept saying a certain time of the day. And then I think it was 2 something. And then I said, I have to go right now. We're having lunch. I said, I have to go right now. And I left the restaurant, got in my car, and I walked in my door, and then her brother texted me and said she died at this exact time.
Wow.
So after that, my other friend, Carla, she was going through her period of, she was stage 4 for a long time, and I remember washing dishes at the sink. It was her birthday. And I just thought, again, I think it's time. I felt something. And then her husband texted me, and it's like, so I realized the connection that at the end of the day, you want to be able to be connected with spirit. That's what we are. We want to be connected, right? When we want to feel loved. So the connection that I can feel with these girls while they're existing, while they're here, and then while they're in transition, and when they're gone, I still feel them. It's a very powerful thing, and it's hard to deal with the loss of them physically being here, and the laughter, and I love the lines in their eyes when they smile, and how they smell, and our little things that we used to do, and having drinks and having fun. But then more than that, I'm like, they're with me all the time. And then when my time comes, I won't be alone either.
Right. Now, is it talking about the things that inspire you and motivate you and encourage you to continue to do the work? Because I personally know some of the days when Mame is like,
Bonnie,
oh
please.
my God, right.
Oh God, it's over.
What am I doing?
Well, because
What is it about those experiences and the women who you've been honored to be a part of their lives and who are no longer here? Is there something about that you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, your friend, her name is Christina? Kristen. Does Kristen, any aspect of your past with her, help to push you over,
Yeah, it
and
does.
push you forward during those days?
One of the last things we talked about is she said, I don't want to die, but she said, I'm not done working. I'm not done doing what I wanted to do. And so before I left her, I told her, I said, whatever you need to do, you don't have to tell me now, but you can tell me later. Just tell me, whisper in my ear, come to me when I'm sleeping, tell me and I'll do it. And so that's one of the things that, but Bonnie, I realized too, when I began this organization, I had nothing. I was in treatment. And technically, people around me were saying, are you crazy? You have nothing. You lost your house. You have this little girl. You're a single mom. You're barely working. What are you doing? Are you crazy? Right. And I said, I have to do this. I promised God I'd give my life to Him in service if I lived. And I have to do this. But when you give, the joy you feel from me in giving, when I'm having a bad day and somebody calls and needs help and I can help them, that's like $1 million for me.
It's the worst. I mean, it is the absolute best remedy.
Best tonic.
It's like, I say to myself, jokingly when I'm having one of my pity parties, and it's like, oh, Bonnie, get over yourself. Nobody's coming to this party. Just shut it down,
Stop it.
Exactly. We are out of time. And this is going to end this segment of our Amazing Women series. And Maima, it's been a delight having you here.
Thank you, Bonnie.
I'll very quickly tell everyone where they can find your book and also how they can contribute to the Tiger Lily Foundation.
My book can be found at my author website, which is www.maimacarmo.com. And Tiger Lily can be supported by going on to www.tigerlilyfoundation.org. Thank you.